Okay, here I am. Hello, Sam. Okay, should we? Okay, we're gonna do. We've got a new flow. You should craft. You should play replays. Open dojo. Hello, Scolopendra. I have a SIM card here that's just like floating around on my desk that I don't know where to put it because the folder I was like keeping them in lost, and I don't want to lose this SIM card, but it's stressing me just sitting here. I keep fiddling with it, and I'm afraid I'm gonna lose. Okay, yesterday was bad for a whole bunch of reasons. Doesn't really matter, but a lot of them technical because I tried to stream in the evening and then I just had a whole bunch of technical issues. And we have an ad. We have an ad, so drop your primes. Okay. So yesterday's stream, it was delayed for various reasons. But then it was at night when I did try to stream. I literally looked and I had two 45-minute streams, and like neither are even worth editing or posting or looking at because it's just playing the event and technical problems. I've updated hopefully everything. I have not reinstalled Master Duel again, but I have verified the integrity of the game files as per Steam. So hopefully it works. Um, I've updated OBS, I've updated Windows, I've got a security update, I've got an optional features update, I've got NVIDIA updates, I've got Discord OBS updates. There was another, like, NVIDIA had other updates, which was better, the event or the stream. Oof, that's a tough one. Which was better, the event stream? I don't know. Both. I I think the event, because once the stream ended and I was playing smoothly on my updated PC to finish the event, I did have a better time playing shitty Leerlusk. But by that I mean like my build was bad and the format is bad. Not that Leerlusk is shitty. I still like Leerlusk a lot. The the event did end up being better than the stream. The stream was so I felt bad about canceling it, but like you just I didn't feel like what I could put out at that time was up to my quality of like what I want. And so today it says excellent connection on Twitch and YouTube. I haven't played the game yet. I have Master Duel open, I have OBS open. Where's my OBS stats? See, OBS says 10% CPU usage, but it always does. Task Manager. Come on, Task Manager, please load. 69% GPU usage. Nice. Okay, it's going up and down. I'm gonna go ahead and open this. Let me make sure there's nothing here scary. By scary, I mean leaking. So it's at high 60s. It has gone up to like 70. I saw it go to 71 right now. So this GPU usage, even a little higher, is acceptable. Within the range of acceptable because it's a 3060 laptop. Like producing maybe after these updates I could even increase to 60 FPS. Okay, going up to 82? Maybe not. Okay. I don't know. We'll try it today. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes at 30. Because I've been streaming at 30. And it's been fine. When it works. When it works. But like it said OBS was at 99% yesterday, and Master Duel was at 30%, and like that's over 100%. So that's not good. Also, I turned I told my computer to put Brave on the CPU. Like, don't ever put Brave on the GPU. The RAM, I'm not concerned about. Like, RAM is not actually a problem. I ordered this computer. Oop, don't look at that. Spoilers. I ordered this computer as a replacement. So I had the 17-inch version, and then I accidentally fried it because I tried to cheap out and get a third-party like adapter board. So I fried my computer out of warranty. It was like a year and a month, and the warranty was a year. And it was like also just before the EU like changed. So like yes, it was no, I don't know how long it was because the EU used to be 2 years for consumer goods, and they extended it to 3 years. I don't feel like it was 2 full years, but it might have been. Either way, it was just out of warranty. I think it was just, I bought it just before the warranty change law was enacted. And then it, like, when the power cord died right after warranty, and then I didn't get OEM, and then it fried my laptop. So I had to replace it. This is the 15-inch version of the same laptop. And where was I going? What about that? What was my point? What was my point about this laptop? Something about cost? What did I mean by that? What did I have to say? Where was I going? Now this is going to bother me. What did I mean? What did I want to say? The RAM. The RAM. That's where I was going. So the last laptop was 16 gigs RAM, and I ordered 16 gigs RAM. And then when it arrived, I did the like CPU check and all that stuff, and it was 32. I was like, sweet, free 16 gigs of RAM. Will not complain. I did a check. I checked it physically. There's 32 gigs in my system, so I will take those free 16 gigabytes of RAM. Okay. Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay. First off, you should craft. Let me look at this screen. Here I am right in the middle. Nope, I won't endorse terahertz. Okay, are you ready for this? Pow! I'm right in the card. So this t-shirt is very old, and I thought about using it to try to chroma key myself to use like green screen. I haven't gotten around to it, but it's on my to-do list. I don't know where it could be. Directly here. I don't know how I would do it. I have to cut it open, but it could work. I iron the shirt, stretch it out, sacrifice one t-shirt, free green screen. Actually, let's try that. Hold on. All right, where? Hello, Twitch. I put you over here. Settings. Video. Advanced. General. All right, Google, help me. How to chroma key green screen in OBS. Right click the source and select filter. I do need to perform mouse surgery. Scale filtering. Filter. Audio, video plus. Noise gate, video delay. Effects filter. Chroma key. Okay, key color type green. Okay. Oh, it is working. Look at my shirt. So what do I want it to do? Just just save? Okay, and then if I come over here, okay, I can't hold on. I can't see the chat, and this is exciting. Look at the oh my, I can like also do this. So I if I had a thing behind me. Oh, I'm this way. Body goes. Whoa, I'm Ash Blossom. That's cool that that just works. So if I'm gonna sacrifice this shirt right now. Goodbye, shirt. I need scissors. I need the fabric scissors. That's cool that it just works. Thanks, OBS. You rock. Where do I hang it, though? Behind me. Alright, I'm gonna go get the scissors. Okay. Need a way to hang this. So I have the scissors. Goodbye. I don't hate beach balls. Beach balls have a time and place. Where are my YouTube people? They don't join the Discord. They don't get notified. Oh, hold on. Okay, Mrs. Dojo shouted to me, and she has a very good point that I only should wreck one seam so that I don't have two. Hold on. Is this is also green? That's funny. We'll cut along the seam here. So let's rip this open. I'll cut along the seam. Arts and crafts with MD Dojo. Okay. Shirt started to be cut. Okay. I'll just cut this right here. Along the sleeve. Sleeve doesn't matter. Cut this. Shirt is now officially ruined. I did like the shirt a lot, but it's very ratty, so like it's I need to. Okay, and then back down this seam. Okay, now this I do want to be straight, so I need to move the microphone to have enough desks. This edge. need more space. Okay. Now we need a way. How do I hang this? On my wall. So if I just like do this, this works. Very easy. But my arms are holding it up. I should do it the other way. My arms. Okay. Look at me. I'm Ash Blossom. Isn't that handy? You can't even tell. You can't even tell that I'm not. It's also an invisibility cloak. All right, so I just need to put this up. My super budget solution here is to literally just hold it and deal with that. Are you ready, boys? Okay, I hope we've wasted enough time. You should craft Ash Blossom Enjoys Spring. It's in over 90% of decks, especially in tournament decks. It is a level 3 fire zombie tuner that is rarely relevant. It's been relevant most recently that it's a fire, but usually doesn't matter because you don't use it as a monster. When a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, quick effect, you can discard this card, negate that effect. Add a card from the deck to hand, special summon from the deck, send a card from the deck to the graveyard. Can you think of any times your opponents have done any of those things? Can you imagine them activating Max C and you want to negate that effect? That adds a card from deck to hand. Ash Blossom can stop things in almost every single deck. It's UR. You can get one for free in the shop. But otherwise, you should have a full playset on your account ready to go to stop your opponents from adding from deck to hand most of the time. And there's a lot of cards that discard a card or have some other cost that then you get two things, and Ash Blossom stops those two. You go +1. Every deck should start with Ash Blossom, and you need a reason to cut it from your deck simply because Max C still exists and because every deck adds from deck to hand. Okay, my arms hurt. But I think we did it. What happens? All right, I'm going to leave that on. I will need a second camera source without the effect. But it's extremely easy. And if I'm a frog... Okay, that's actually funny. Does it work over here? Yeah, but there's nothing behind me. So it's just black. Same here. I don't know why it doesn't have... Oh, what's my source behind? I don't know. Okay, very cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Okay, you should craft. Done. I need my other window back open again. Welcome, Master Duelists, to the Master Duel Dojo. There are some who call me Tim. Subscribe for further training. The path of 4,000 subs leads the dojo to enlightenment and monetization. You should play Malice. Okay, what is Malice? Malice is a dark Cybers archetype that is based on Alice in Wonderland. It's a very fun theme, and they all mostly have the same effect that when they are banished, you can pay some life points and resummon them. And each of them has a different effect that then gets you to another card. And they do the Cyber's Link Climb thing. And usually, right now, and on Appaloosa plus Firewall Dragon, they draw several cards during their combo, and they set up a lot of interaction on the opponent's turn. It's a very fun deck to play. I think it's very rewarding. It is also easy to play as so far as combo decks go, because it is honestly quite repetitive. And some people think that that's boring, but I think it is a good step into the competitive game and higher ranks. So here in front of me, I have what I consider to be mandatory in the Malice deck, and you need a reason to cut down on these cards. So 3 Dormouse, 3 Rabbit, at least 2 Hare, and Chessy Cat. You do need all of these. They are all... Okay, Rabbit and Mouse and Hare are all Ultra. Gold Sark you might not have on your account, which is a bummer, but is very good as a starter and extender. Malice in Underground is another ultra rare, and you don't need the 3rd copy, but I advise that if you're building Malice, you have the 3rd copy on your account, so then when it is correct to have it in your deck, you have access to it. Followed by Crossout, Ash, Mexi, we've seen these. Malice in the Mirror, and you need at least these 2 traps. So 6 isn't completely necessary, but is the bulk of your plays on both players' turns right now, with the way the deck functions. And then in the extra deck, what's made it? So there's 3 Link monsters, Hearts Cryptor, and then Red and White Queens. Cryptor is Ultra. Link Decoder, if you haven't played a Cybers deck before, you probably don't have it, but it is an Ultra, and it does change how the deck plays. And if Decoder gets banned, like it did in the TCG, the deck changes considerably. And then Firewall, Apollo, Access Code are 3 Ultras that you should probably have. I didn't have a Firewall Dragon before playing Malice, so I had to craft this. But Apollo and Access should definitely be on your account. And until they get banned, which Access probably won't, Apollo is rumored on the chopping block that you will play these again if they are legal. They are not always the play, but they are so frequently the play that it's no harm to have them on your account. Firewall Dragon is a bit more niche when you can make it, because it has to basically go in a link deck because you need to co-link it to get it the best effect. But it's... So, like, Apollo, if you can make Apollo, she's just good. If you can make Access Code using another link, he's just good. Firewall Dragon is more niche in that he needs to be co-linked to be good. And we'll read the cards. And then we've got some other things here. There's a couple different ways to build Malice, and here I have some other options in your deck. So I have a bunch of diversity of hand traps here that you can play. I have more copies of Chessy and March Hare if you're not maxed out on those already. I've got Bystials. Bystials work as extender and interruption. Gold Sark, if you don't have it, you need to consider it. Allure of Darkness is a draw 2, but it's conditional on having a dark. So you need to have really, like, the minimum amount of darks I would consider before I play Allure of Darkness is 13. And that's just the way the math works of having at least 1 dark to banish. And at that 13-14 range, you're likely to only have 1 dark that you banish. So it's possible you Allure of Darkness, draw into Magnemite, and then you have to banish Magnemite. With low dark rates, Allure is quite likely to miss, and then you have to discard your hand. And I've seen that a lot because people... It's very, very good. So if you go Allure of Darkness, banish Dormouse, Dormouse reloads, and then you can activate Dormouse and combo from there, that is amazing. That feels awesome. But if you miss, you're doing nothing. So the allure is literally very alluring. It is literally tempting. It is literally greedy. And I love its theme for that. That it is literally tempting you here. And it is punishing people. Signet mining is diverse and can go get different things. It's not necessarily needed right now in like pure builds, but if you're playing different Cybers monsters, you can play this. The third underground, if you're not playing it, called by Crossout, Imperm, and Impulse, I think are nearly mandatory, and you need to heavily consider if you don't have them in your deck already. Impulse is it does conflict with some sub engines, which I'll come back to, but Impulse I think is so good right now, and it stops every Malice combo like by itself. They need an extender to play through it. It doesn't shut off the whole turn. And then in the extra deck, I have some other options. I have Link Spider here because I need to talk about it. People ask, why does Link Spider exist? Link Spider does not need to be in most versions of the deck. The only version I agree with still is Sky Striker, where you summon the token and you want to convert the token, your own token on purpose, into Cybers. Otherwise, I don't think Link Spider belongs, because the way you make it is off of a Nibiru token, and if you can continue playing through the Nibiru token, you can summon enough monsters to link into your Link 3 anyways, and the Malice Link 3s don't require non-tokens. So you can use the token for a Malice Link and then continue playing. You don't need to convert it into Splash Mage. Okay. Code of Soul is one of the options that you would get with Signet mining. I don't like Code of Soul by itself. You need a way to search it, and I don't like Signet mining because you also can't search Signet mining. There's a build that gets around this that I'll talk about Signet mining, but I don't think Signet mining belongs in most versions. These three are just terahertz options. So I see there's 11 extra deck as mandatory. I see these 11 slots in the extra deck as mandatory for Malice, so that really means, unless you're cutting one of these for a specific reason, that you only have 4 extra deck slots to fit in other things. And the flex slot would be Firewall Dragon if you're going to end on something else other than Firewall Dragon. And I have a list I'm going to show you that cuts Apollo instead of Firewall for the same reason, that it's decided it's never going to end on Apollo. So in those extra slots, you can put Dark, you can put Cerberus, you can put Phoenix. These interact in various ways. IP Mask Arena is an option. I don't think it's that great. I don't think it's great in Mexi. I don't think it's great into Fulos. I think you have better options playing into both. And I have not seen a situation where I think IP Mask Arena is the best option, because you so frequently turn your monsters immediately into Link monsters, so you can't even make IP. Almirage, unlike Link Spider, is valuable to convert one of your normal summons into a Cybers to then link into Splash Mage. That does come up and is relevant, because then you otherwise wouldn't be able to play. So, for example, if you go Gold Sark and you go into Dormouse and they imperm Dormouse, Dormouse then isn't doing anything. You can link it into Link Decoder or Lingaribo, but that by itself doesn't do anything. So you normal summon a Hand Trap, and you can't make Splash Mage. And if you've already reloaded your Dormouse, Lizard or SP isn't going to do it. And since it was Imperm, let's say, like, Dark is not going to steal a monster out of their grave. So it has to be Almirage into Splash Mage, Reborn your Malice, make Ransom. Terahertz is kind of a replacement for the Firewall. So you can go something like Apollo plus Terahertz instead of Firewall, and that is a legal play you can make. I don't like Terahertz because any hand that can make Terahertz can make Firewall, and you free up 4 extra deck slots. Because you kind of need to play Transcode Talker if you're playing Terahertz. You don't need to, but there's many hands where you want the Transcode Talker to turn one Cyberse into your Link 5. You do technically need to. So you turn... It is Link Decoder. So you link your Link 1 into Link Decoder. Let me be straight about this. Okay. You turn your Link monster into Link Decoder. I'm sorry. You turn your Malice into Link Decoder. Link Decoder plus another thing is Splash Mage. I messed this up so bad. That is not correct at all. Okay. You summon two monsters, two Cyberse monsters. Cyberse monsters turn into Splash Mage. Splash Mage reborns any Cyberse monster. Doesn't matter what it is. That turns into Link Decoder. Link Decoder plus Splash Mage turn into Transcode Talker. Link Decoder reborns itself. Transcode Talker reborns Splash Mage. And then Transcode, Decoder, Splash Mage is Terahertz together. That's the play. And this works under Lancia. And it works through different types of disruption where you can't play with the Malice cards. And then your options to send are Desave Worm, Packbit, and Aggregator, and they do various things. Desave negates a spell trap while you have a Link 4 or higher Cyberse, so either Firewall, basically, which is Terahertz. Packbit discards a card to push something back to the back row, and Aggregator negates a face-up card. Many builds are only playing Desave, and they're playing Code of Soul as a second target, because Terahertz is a quick effect that will send on both players' turns. So let me show you the other engines and why you might play them. So here, oh, I forgot Terror Top. My right click is not working and it's driving me nuts. Akatamborg. Cherubini. What's the last card in this? We have Gossip and Totem. I don't have a Totem somehow. Okay, so some of the other engines you can play in Malice help you play through Artifact Lancia. Artifact Lancia is a problem for Malice, but I think that Malice is still good enough that you don't care. You just play Malice regardless. And the Lancia problem is solved in a couple different ways. So Malice has to fight through Maxx C and Lancia, two different hand traps your opponent could have that basically end your turn. And so you need to have a plan for both of them. And playing Malice, you're playing both minigames. And many people have expressed that they hate playing Malice for this reason. And Malice is very difficult to stop without specific non-engine. So if the non-engine you draw doesn't stop Malice, they're going to set up a big board, and you're probably going to lose. So first here, I have Speedroid Terror Top plus Takatomborg. So this engine is 3 Terror Top, Takatomborg, Cherubini, and then optionally, Code of Soul. It is usually played. And then either of the rank 3 XCs. You don't have to play those. Those are completely optional on top of the optional Terror Tops. So Terror Top does conflict with Impulse. So if you use Impulse, you can't then search Takatomborg with Terror Top, but it is still a free special summon. It does make you slightly more vulnerable to Nib, and that is a counterpoint against it, and Nibiru is getting more popular, and I advise you to play multiple Nibiru right now. Things might change in the future, but right now, multiple Nibiru. And so what you do with them is you make Cherubini, send a Malice to the graveyard, normal summon any other card, link into Lizard, and then you have access to your Malice. Or, if you have a Malice, you can just normal summon your Malice, link it with Cherubini into Ransom, and then you're off to the races. Code of Soul is just a link option. So I haven't mentioned yet. Code of Soul, what it does is it allows you to make Cryptor, usually, on your opponent's turn. You can make either Firewall Dragon if you have the materials here. Why is Millennium here? We'll come back to Millennium. We're talking about the engines right now. That is a good question. So next up is MathMech. MathMech engine, I don't personally like. It does beat Lancia because it allows you to make terahertz, but so do many, many other things. You can get to terahertz without it, and playing MathMech kind of forces you to play terahertz, because if that is your anti-Lancia plan, circular into terahertz, you should be making terahertz anyways. It's also a big investment, so you need however many copies of circular you're going to play. You usually need diameter, and then you need at least Alimbertion to complete the combo. And then at that point, you may as well add Superfac and Laplacian, and then you're eating into a lot of main deck and extra deck space. And it is not good into Fulos. I think regular Malice is quite good into Fulos. Okay. Fiendsmith. Fiendsmith has a little bit of anti-synergy with Malice, because if you start Fiendsmith, you have to go all the way, however far you get with your Fiendsmith stuff, before you realize, or before you know if your opponent has Lancia or something like it, unless they just shotgun it straight away. So the Malice monsters, if you reload them, they lock you into link summons only from the extra deck. So if you go ahead and you summon Engraver, you link Requiem, you summon Sequence, and you've reloaded a Malice, you can't activate Sequence because you can't fusion summon. So you have to do that first. So all of those plays go first. You run the Fiendsmiths into Max C, and then you make your Malice plays. Yes, so the best thing you could be doing is make an Apollo with the Fiendsmiths before you start playing a Malice, and I don't like that. It just doesn't feel good, because you have to naturally draw them and then play them first. The upside of Fiendsmith that I see is Fiendsmith going second. Yeah, Scolopendra says there's the issue about how many slots Fiendsmith takes in the extra deck, and that is basically your all of the flex slots, because you can skip Desiree and play just Lacrima, but it's at least Lacrima, Sequence, Requiem, and that's if you're not playing Moon. If you just want to hard draw the Fiendsmith stuff and then use it before you Malice to make like Apollo, that's 3 slots without any fluff. That's no Caesar, no Desiree, no Moon, and there's other things that Fiendsmiths can do. Okay, Millennium. Night Assassin has asked, why Millennium? Millennium costs a lot of life points. So with Malice, you can get to Malice plus Millennium, you can get to a scary, scary low life total, but I would advise you to look in the description in the YouTube cut for my tournament where Aban gets first place in my tournament with Millennium Malice. The life point payment doesn't actually matter. It feels very, very heavy, and it can matter in rare occasions, but it doesn't actually make a real difference, because if you have life points left, you haven't lost the game, and your opponent has to get through your whole board before they can kill you. And you are not going to the low enough point where single Lacrima is going to kill you, because you have interaction to stop their Sequence and other things from getting to Lacrima. +6 does gain life points. So most lines with 6, you're gaining 23 on both players' turns. So you're gaining back all of the Millennium life points, and then you're basically only dealing with the Malice life points that you have to pay. It does add up, so turn 3 is where the life point payment starts to matter, because you've paid 4,000 plus around 3,000 for Malice. There are combos that leave you at exactly like 1,000 life points. I saw one that Nezu cooked up that left you at exactly 100 life points. because it uses everything in the combo. But the Millennium Engine is very powerful before and after Lancia. You can start with Millennium. You can threaten Photon Lord, which will negate things. But I find most of the time Zombie Vampire is more than enough because it eats hand traps. There's very few situations where your opponent doesn't stop Zombie Vampire if they can. Because Zombie Vampire gets another thing, and then you're either playing your main engine or theirs. You can summon something like Lancia or Chaos Hunter. I've seen Zombie Vampire steal Chaos Hunters, which is very funny. Doom Dragon is also just an insane card. If you haven't read Doom Dragon, you need to. Pause the video, read Snake Eyes Doom Dragon. It's an insane card. It's just free. You just get to play it for free if you play Millennium. Allures, I've talked about already. I've touched on them, that you need to be playing enough darks for this, and that is usually high Bestial count. Okay, Sky Striker. Sky Striker is the last engine I'm going to talk about right now. It is usually just 3 engage, 1 Hornet Drone, 1 Widow Anchor, and they do play stuff like Triple Allure. And I'll show you a Sky Striker build, and the only difference in the extra deck is single Kagari. So it is a compact extra deck, and it gets you extra material that you can do whatever you want with from there. So it is just link material that's good going first and second, and sometimes engage draws you cards. Like, it's just simple extra link material. That's what it's doing here. Where is just a boring... Okay, let's look at some different lists. This is just a very, very stock Malice list with no real frills or anything special. So there's a trend of Lancia going in and out of decks right now because Malice is only like 30 to 50% of the meta share. And so Lancia is only good against Malice. That's not true. It has applications in other matchups, but is highly variable of how good it is. Similar to cards like Ghost Bell or Ghost Ogre, that they are not high impact in every matchup. So people are shaving on Lancias and cutting it entirely in favor of other matchup strength. To the point where I now see Dimension Shifter going into Malice again, because the Malice mirrors are getting less frequent. People are playing other decks again. So this is just a no-frills Malice build. It has 3 Fulos. I would like to see these become Imperm. I think Imperm is a lot better. But Fulos is a card. There's 3 Nibiru. I think that this is a bit much. I would not like to play 3 Nibirus, but you can put the 3 Nibirus in your deck, and it is high impact. It is very good. It does technically conflict with Impulse, but you have to Nibiru first before you Impulse, and you usually want to Impulse early in the turn. That's why I don't like 3 Nibiru, because it increases the chances of these actually conflicting. This second mirror here could be something else, but it is a good card to draw, and it functions like Imperm going second, but it also gets you rolling. So you could perhaps cut Fulos, Nib, second mirror for 3 Imperm, and then change out the other 2 Fulos for another hand trap of your choice. I'm personally a big fan of Bell, but this deck is a solid deck and not embarrassing. I'm a huge fan of this precise list right here. It's another heavy hand trap build, and it plays Bell, Lancia, 3rd Bestial, Imperms over the other stuff, and it has a single Talents. So it is down to 1 Chessy Cat, and you could have the Talents be a second Chessy Cat, because it is your like anti-Maxi, anti-Fua plan to just Chessy Cat draw 2. So if they Maxi or Fulos you, in the main phase, or Lancia you. You can talents to either look at their hand or draw more cards to draw into more entering. And I've been having quite a lot of fun with this list. Shanna Hoshino, hello! Hello, Raiders, welcome. How are you doing? Get a quick shout out. So, I don't think, hold on, shout out. Shanna Hoshino. Are you a master duelist? You're a Minecraft player. Is this true? Hold on. You gotta see who you are. So welcome. Welcome in. Raiders, how is this even right? Is it Shanna? Whatever you want to play. Random streams. Where's the about page? It says what you play. Isn't there like a list of games somewhere on Twitch that will say what you play? Minecraft, Master Duel, what else do you play? Subnautica the other day? Subnautica's not a game I've tried. Looks fun. Looks like a lot of fun. I've got that laser-focused Master Duel mindset. I'm usually only Master. And today we're focusing on Malice. We're making a YouTube video. My followers, go follow Shanna. Shanna's followers, follow me. Welcome in. Glad to have you. Who are also playing Malice. Malice is super fun. I have a fun time with Malice. Did I explain everything I needed to about this list? No. So the final thing about this specific list is that the plan under Lancia and Maxi are both the same. If your opponent hits you with either of those, you just stop. Because it has 21 hand traps, if I've counted right. It has shaved on Underground, so you're less likely to draw multiples of that and be dead into Lancia or Maxi. And then you can just pass with a grip full of hand traps. And if your game plan succeeds and you are able to combo and you draw off Chessie, off Binder twice, you're drawing into hand traps. So Imperm is the only one that can't be activated if you draw it on your opponent's turn. I like that. So Malice is a bunch of different ways to arrive at the same point. What was this? Oh, this was one Terror Top build? Why is this one 42 cards? That's not right. I have 44. It should be 42. What's extra here? Right, Called by the Rave, I think, is added to the... This is a sample Terror Top list where you make Cherubini to either get started or to play through things. And an upside of Cherubini is that you can send a level 3 Ash Blossom Code of Soul if you don't need access to your Malice, which is really great. And then you are able to Firewall, bounce back your level 3. And there's a really cool play that's in the spreadsheet, link in the description, that you can summon Firewall, Firewall bounce itself, link summon Firewall again. So Firewall will bounce itself and a hand trap and maybe a third thing, and then you summon Firewall again. Because Firewall is once while it's face up on the field. So you use it once on your turn, bounce itself, summon Firewall again. It's very cool. So this deck doesn't have Called Bys. It does have Lancias. If you're not seeing a lot of Malice, you can cut the Lancias. If you are seeing a lot of Malice, play the Lancias. And how many Lancias to play in tournaments, I'm not sure. I don't play enough in tournaments to know, but on ladder, you can change your deck every game. So just go based on your like gut feeling here if you're playing against a lot of Malice. And it will always feel like you've made the wrong choice, though. In a best of one format in ladders, having more options with TB11, why is considered suboptimal? So I don't agree that it's always better to have Lancia, because there are Malice is only like 30 to 50%. So let's open up both Master Duel meta and Untapped. So if we look at the data, so all decks, and let's go just Master, just the best players. Popularity, so the win rate of Malice is down here, but it is 42% Malice in Master only. There's a higher distribution in Diamond, so let's include Diamond. I think this will give us the highest percentage of Malice. 41%. Did not go up. It went down. So 42% Malice. And then Master Duel meta is under 30%. And it goes down if you cut it to Master only. So 31%, 30 to 40% is Malice, which is between every other and every third game. So you need to have Lancia in your deck. You need to draw Lancia and be playing against Malice. So that is multiple coin flips, because it is multiple worse than coin flips, because it is 40% to draw 3 of. And then it is another 40%-ish at the high end that you're even playing against Malice. Wasn't there another popular deck that gets shut down by Lancia? So Crystron does, but Crystron is also not super popular. Did I close my tab? I did. So Crystron is down to 2.45 on Master Duel meta. And you manage to shut down some tier plays. So, like, that's the thing, is that you can shut down niche other things. It has applications in other matchups. Like, so something like Ghost Ogre, but that doesn't mean that it is the right hand trap for the job. And if you look at all of the cards in the game, if we microscope that to even just all of the hand traps in the game, you've decided I need a hand trap in this slot to interact with my opponent when I go second on their first turn in this deck slot. That limits our choices to hand traps. It could be a board breaker, so it's like board breaker, hand trap. And if we microscope it to only hand traps, and you include all the hand traps, the average number of any given hand trap is going to be 0. Most hand traps you are playing 0 copies of. So if you just pick a random card, you're going to be playing 0 copies of it. So something like Ghost Ogre has applications. Something like Shifter has applications, but it doesn't mean that it is the best tool for the job. Same with Droll, Deity Crow, many other hand traps. So Crystron, also down here, also 2.6%. So that barely moves the needle on how much you want Lancia. So it's effectively only Malice. Okay, TB11. In a best of one format with ladders, and having more options with TB11, why is it considered suboptimal? So TB11 is considered suboptimal because it opens up a vulnerability to Ash Blossom. So if you start Rabbit into TB11, yes, 7 also gets interrupted by Ash Blossom, but TB11 doesn't actually extend your combos that much more. So you're going to lose to Ash Blossom in both cases. And TB11 doesn't actually increase your ability to combo in any real situation. I don't have a better way to explain it. let me reopen my spreadsheet and see if my spreadsheet puts it more eloquently than I do. The short of it is that you don't need it. So here. So these are still true. So TB11 introduces a vulnerability to Ash Blossom. So 7 also loses to Ash Blossom. But you need to play 7 as your interaction anyways. So you're going to play 7 in your deck. It is interaction on your opponent's turn. And it does improve the 1-card rabbit board. That's true. But you need to be... It doesn't meaningfully change it because it doesn't strengthen the board against any hand traps. It doesn't help you play through anything. The names remind you of the Terminator. I can see that. Just like a serial number type of thing. And going second, drawing TB11 is not what you want. TB11 doesn't help you push through boards. It doesn't help you stop your opponent from playing the game. So having TB11, if you could guarantee you could never draw TB11, I would put it in your deck. But because you have a chance to draw it, you don't need it. So if you're questioning TB11, I dare you to play 10 games without it. Play 10 games without TB11. And then, if you missed it, put TB11 back in your deck. Ladder is such low stakes that you can do things like that. Okay. I keep seeing videos of Master Duel that have some summon animations I don't have. Do you know how they do that? They are probably playing MD Pro, which is a different program. Okay, so MD Pro is kind of janky. Like this. Where's the language? The bottom somewhere. Card UI language. Okay. So these were Snake Eyes replays. But MD Pro has some subtle differences that if you're not aware of, you're not going to notice. This is MD Pro. So the replays look like Master Duel, but the animations are different. So like the loop on the Snake Eyes field, I've noticed, is different. So it, instead of being a fluid loop, it cuts like a video. So it's like going, it cuts like a poorly edited short and starts over. And the animations are slightly different. They're mostly the same, but you can see that they're different. Also, like this flip of the card in the when it comes to your hand is a big tell. You can also put custom icons. So am I in the way? So you can see that I'm Sengenjin down in the corner. Sengenjin is not a Master Duel icon. I just uploaded a picture, or I told MD Pro, look at this picture, use that as the icon. So I don't know if it's going to give me any animation. Flameburge has an animation. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, Flameburge has an animation. Correct. Is it worth it to use? That depends your use case, because Engraver has an animation normally. Yeah, it depends on your use case of what you're doing with it. Because I don't see it as particularly useful most of the time. I don't see any cards with special animation yet. Clean Birch comes back. Sunlight Wolf, no animation. So I don't know who does and doesn't have an animation. Yes, these are old combos. Pre-Beatrice ban. But they're probably MD Pro, and you can notice other small discrepancies in the combos and how the cards land. So it's probably MD Pro. We had another question. I think I've answered the current questions. Okay. Many people in pure lists do still play Terahertz, and so here's the sample of what that would look like. This list has Terahertz, it has D-Save Worm Descend on the first turn, and then Code of Soul on the second turn. Because Terahertz, you summon it on your turn, you then send something on your turn, and send something on your opponent's turn. So Drex here played in my tournament. Alright, goodbye, Shayna. Drexier played in my tournament. He got, I think it was second place. And he played Terahertz in a otherwise pure list with a set of Lancias here. What else is in his flex slots? Cerberus and Dark. Cerberus and Dark are his other two flex cards that he's opted for. Cerberus outs things like Chaos Hunter, and then Dark can extend and kind of does a fake job of being transcode, but doesn't actually help you make Terahertz without linking Dark into something else. So you could link Dark into something like a White Binder if you steal your opponent's Malice, but you would need to steal their monster. The problem with Terahertz is that if you can make Terahertz, you can make Firewall Dragon. And so why not just summon Firewall Dragon, leave the extra material on board, turn it into something like Lingaribo, and save this extra deck space. This is Aban's first placed Malice list from my tournament. He's got a heavy 3 sets of talents. He's only playing 3 Millennia Monsters, but he does have Zombie Vampire and Doom Dragon, and there's a set of Fools here as well. He's shaved down on Imperms, and he's not playing any Impulses. And there's nothing, no other frills or extra special stuff. Again, he has Cerberus Dark as his other 2 flex slots in addition to Doomed and Zombie Vampire. And then this list is from Beto in the Malice Discord and Master Duel Meta. This is the Skystriker list he's been playing on ladder. I can't quite attest to this list because I have not played it, but this is what he's been playing. You do still pick going first, but all of your cards are still good going second. He has a set of Nibiru and Drone Lockbird. I don't know if I agree with Drone Lockbird right now, because Malice is quite good at playing through it, but it is a card you can play. One of the upsides of Skystriker is that you still get to play Impulse, and it is a similar size engine to most of the other decks. It is 3 Engage, Hornet Drones, Widow Anchor. And both are good going first and second. They're extra combo and interaction with Widow Anchor. He has no allures in this list because his dark count is only 10. If I were to advise you to just pick a list blindly, it would be this list, and then keep your eye on the Malice Mirror Match, how much you're seeing, and then cut Lancias for something else. It can be Effect Veiler, it can be anything you like here, and it is better if it is a dark, fire, or water monster that works through Impulse. So something like a Shifter, replacing a Lancia because you're no longer seeing Malice Mirror Matches, and then 2 other cards. And those 2 cards can be anything that I've showed you up to this point. Where did Malice options go? And then I'll cut to this. I think Code of Souls in that deck. So I would probably pick a second Chessie, Dimension Shifter, and there's no reason to play Code of Souls. Are there called bys? I clicked the wrong button, but they're not called by. So if you want to, you could cut the Lancius for something like a Shifter and a pair of Called by the Grave, or a second Chessie Cat, or something like that. This list doesn't have Called by the Grave because it isn't a hand trap going second. And going first, your plan is to pass into Lancia Maxi anyways. So you can play Called by, but there are times when you don't need to put Called by the Grave in your deck. There's times when you don't need to put Ash Blossom in your deck. Most of the time they go in your deck, and they are correct, but there are times that you should not play them. And if you always play them like they're sacred, you will miss the moment when it is not correct to play them. Okay, I feel like we've yapped a lot, and then I can condense that down. So now it is time for Replays with Dojo, the part of the show where Dojo comes out and watches a funny replay. So do you guys, let me open up the replays. Do you guys have a replay for me? YouTube's having a problem. Do I have yours? Let's see. So which... Sam's not online. What can I do? All right, these top 3. I feel like you showed me these. Oh, holy 35 turns. I don't know that you've seen... that I've seen this one. It's it's just this one? Okay. I will go to the bathroom. I'm going to run an ad. Drop your Twitch Primes. And everyone else redeem replays. Okay, Sam, your replay is this 35 turn one. Oh my goodness. Guys, I think my YouTube stream is effing private. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, YouTube. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I need to change something on Twitch real quick. Hold on. We need to change the redeem. Because I was like, where is everybody on YouTube? Why are there no YouTubers today? Like, nobody's come in. Like, normally, like, somebody comes in. Alright, so we need to... change our stream title. Why can't I... edit this? Alright, I'm not logged into the ring. Okay, we are back. We are live on YouTube for real. Oopsie poopsie. I can't believe I had the YouTube stream unlisted that whole time. So YouTube tricks you. Because, so I had a stream, I had crappy streams yesterday. And the streams were so bad that I decided, like, alright, I won't even... I don't even care about the VODs. And then I just unlisted both VODs. Like, they were so bad that is, like, this is terrible. And then when you stream again, it uses your last settings. And even if you've changed your last stream, so I made the VOD of last stream unlisted, and then it streams today's stream unlisted. What do I think of the new player format? What does that mean? What's the new player format? Hold on. What is... okay. How new players struggle against decks like... oh, just how new players? It's... the game is hard for new players. I'm not sure. That's a very, very complicated question because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a lot of learning. Like, that's just how it is that you have a lot to learn. So, new Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not awesome at onboarding new players into decks they can play because a lot of the game is knowing what your opponent's cards do and where they're going to lead. So if your opponent normal summons Dormouse and they read Dormouse, Dormouse gives you a hint that if it's banished, you can summon itself. So, like, your opponent goes normal summon Dormouse. you have to read and parse that for the first time. And even if you're a genius and you understand that there's going to be other Malice monsters that have the same effect, that summon themselves when they're banished, and Dormouse will banish one of them and summon itself. And then you can perform a Link summon. You don't have a clue what that Link monster is going to be. You don't know if there's a better thing to stop down the line. If Dormouse is just bait. Like, it's not possible to know without having seen a deck before. And that, I think, is a problem because players don't want to learn how to play against things. They just want to play their deck. And that is fine, like in low ranks. The problem is that players also want to win, which is antithetical to just playing your game. And there's a number of decks, like Exodia, sometimes branded, other Floowandereeze, Rescue Ace. Like, there's a whole bunch of, like, easy-to-play decks that just do their thing and, like, stop the opponent from playing completely. And as Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, it is, I think, our job to, ironically, promote these stun, floodgate, low-skill decks. New players don't want to read either. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of information. And Master Duel doesn't help with big glowing buttons. So if your opponent... So, I don't have a good example right here. Oh, I do have an example. I saw somebody... So, the one player summoned Tenyi Ashuna. I think they're called... Yeah, they're the Tenyis. They summoned Tenyi Ashuna, and the streamer goes, he's going to start linking that off into other things. I don't want him to do that. I don't want him to use Ashuna's effect to summon. Effect Veiler. Ashuna has an effect that activates in hand and in graveyard. Effect Veiler does nothing to it. So either it was a misunderstanding of how Effect Veiler works or a misunderstanding of what Ashuna does. The, like, thought is right that you want to stop that, but the execution was terrible, and he wasted his Effect Veiler. And I don't know how to help new players with that. The way to help players with that is sweeping things like floodgates. So, like, they're very, very broad in many applications. And it is our responsibility to help players find a deck they are comfortable playing and like more than win. A deck that is capable of winning, but a deck that they also enjoy to play. So I had a friend, Vlad. Shout out to my friend Vlad. Can we get a shout out for Vlad? So Vlad joined Master Duel, and he decided somehow, I don't know, that he was going to play Snake Eye Fiendsmith. I think it was the just because it was the best deck in the game at the time. And so I helped him a lot learn Snake Eyes, and he got very good for a new player at playing Snake Eyes. But every time he played, he was just like, I'm just so exhausted playing Snake Eyes all day long that I can't even think what my opponent's going to do because I have access to everything all at once, all the time, forever. And so because you can do anything, there's no real limits on what you can do. And if you give a player a more limited deck, they are more able to see the plays they can make. And I actually think Branded is a very good deck for new players, because if you can get them to find Branded Fusion, activate Branded Fusion, and you teach them the combo that ends on Mirror Jade plus Lubellion, end phase set Banishment, that is a very, very high, like, floor, combo floor. And if they can just get to that, that will do them wonders in a ton of games, and they have nearly infinite growth to do as a player. So the deck is not inherently simple, but the combo you execute is, and then you have a couple pieces of interaction that you know how they work, and you can then focus more on what your opponent's doing. So you know Mirror Jade banishes, what's it called? Mirror Jade banishes, Mercurier negates an activation, and then Branded Banishment can fuse into a couple different options as effectively removal. And the deck gets more complicated, and as the player's skill grows, they can incorporate more different things into their interactions and understand how they interact. Branded isn't simple at a high level. At a high level, Branded is not simple. At the basic level, activate Branded Fusion, summon Mirror Jade, use Mirror Jade to banish your opponent's monster. That is a very simple game plan that I think a lot of players can accomplish. It is a simple... That is a simple execution. You don't have to tell them about the end phase combos making Verte to avoid Ash Blossom. Like, they don't need to know that yet. They can learn about that later. Whereas if you give them stun, they will summon Fossil Dyna and not really grow as a player. The skill ceiling is very low. And I think giving new players a way to interact with their opponent is crucial for them to get better at the game. Okay, I've yapped enough. Let's look at Sam's replay. Here is Sam's replay. This is the worst event I've seen in Master Duel. Sam starts with an Extrav. Okay, so I'm a little bit sluggish here after a million updates. But I think it's just that replays feel slow, because that looked fine. Okay, Sam goes Trap Trick for Dino Misc. Okay, so he's got Dino Misc active. But it goes away, doesn't it? No, I'm thinking of the Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Yes, this is the under 5 event. Opponent sets the Labyrinth Field spell. We're going to banish that. Sam also, funnily, has both Dominus cards in his deck because this is the Pacifist, and there's no monsters you're going to activate at all. It looks like I'm lagging now. That's not good. Okay. We set a Floodgate. The opponent is on nothing. Everything is looking smooth to me. Okay, Duster Sam for a million. YouTube is complaining that it's got a problem. I think it's just replays. Replays always seem very slow. Okay, so Sam has a pair of Phantasm Spiral battles and a pair of Dominus cards. So the battles are useless because he has no normal. And he's just got to hold the Dominus cards. Okay, we have Pacifists. We Impulse the Big Welcome. Reborn the Dino Misc. Battle pop a random card. One of them goes... what? Dimensional Barrier. Why could I not remember the name? Okay, we get the token. We get a search. In for 32. The game has started. Pop a random back row. Ice Dragon's Prison. In for 32 more. How does this game last much longer? It looks like Master Fusion is pretty done for. Okay, welcome Labyrinth again. And we don't have Impulse this time. In for 2,000, he summons Big Butt Ariana. Okay, the furniture comes back. We can't get over 2,000 booty without something like Spiral Battle. Ariana gets the Labyrinth. This is a strange order, but okay. Okay, gets back the clock. We're going to activate the clock. We're going to big welcome now for another Ariana. Optimize the land. Don't really care. He has to deal with a 2,000 attack monster. Okay, big Ariana. Now you just opened up Pacifist to summon again. I believe the correct play here is to activate nothing and just keep attacking with these, because Pacifist is going to summon a token. Okay, token is back. Pacifist, sure. Get rid of the token. Nope. We're bouncing Ariana. Drawing some cards. Dark Hole. 4 monsters to get rid of the token. No attack here. Okay. Pacifist, and the correct play is to just attack. Summon monsters and attack without activating. There you go. You can get in if you don't activate things. Many players can't handle this, though. Trap Trick is a way to protect you and, like, make your opponent do something. So what does Sam get with Trap Trick here? What is that? Phantasm Spiral Power. Negate a guy, and it loses 1,000 attack and defense. Okay. Roar for Mystery Shell. Gets impulsed. Pacifist activates because you've activated. Third big welcome, bounce your guy again. Labyrinth cards come back. Okay, here's a Redoer, which will get over the token. But power makes it small. Redoer gets out of here. Can this be activated in the damage step? I think it can. Okay, Redoer's back. Very annoying. He gets a trap card, which is frustrating. But our deck is mostly traps. One is at 1,100. Can we finish the game? With Pacifist on top. Okay, Redoer does not escape because he had no monster as material. And he thinks we're out of Pacifist, but we're not. Okay, Roar is dead here because we don't have enough life. It's also setting cards. It's probably Stovey. All the girls are in the grave. Hulos. Okay, Mystery Shell Dragon is going to clean up everything except for a Stovey if he finds one. The opponent has 2 cards left in deck. How many Stovies? There's 1 Stovey in the graveyard that I see. And the opponent concedes. You could have had deck out, and you could have had lethal. Double victory. Alright, I don't know what's up with YouTube stream, why the quality is bad, and how to fix that. It just says it's not receiving enough data. OBS says no frames dropped. Like, not a problem. Twitch does say 9,000 red. Oh, now it is. So what's our problem? Because I can't just have bad stream forever. All right. So, I'm already at 1080, 30 FPS, and it's been fine. Hold on. Give me a second. All right. Thanks for hanging out, Sam. I'm now just trying to fix paying again. Ooh. Okay, is there a way? Make sure game mode is not interfering with OBS. I've already decreased FPS to 30. And we're at extremely high GPU use. Okay, let me try to... Can I even change the... Alright, I need to stop stream for 1 second to change a setting, and then I'm gonna restart stream. So don't go anywhere. Stay here, guys. Is the